A peculiarly humanoid spirit looked up, through eyes veiled by his hood, at the pastel skies of the ethereal and ever-changing spirit realm. This particular anthropomorphic spirit was not quite one of a kind. He was in fact looking for the only other of his kind that he felt he had a connection with. And as was the way in this place, thinking of someone was much the same as finding them. "Ah, there you are." Iroh greeted him with a warm smile and, of course, a cup of tea. The spirit once known as Monk Gan removed his hood and replied in kind, "I am glad you agreed to meet me again." "I always welcome a tall tale to go with my tea," Iroh replied with a smile as he petted one of the many tiny spirits that took interest in him. "Why, I take absolute offense to that," Gan protested. "Tall tale implies stretching the truth." "I assure you I do nothing of the sort." As Gan defended his integrity as a storyteller, Iroh chuckled. "Storytellers also have a way of convincing people that something as ordinary as a fluffy bunny cloud is an ominous sign," Iroh said with a wry smile. "Oh, hog monkeys! Again you mistake me. I'm a storyteller, not a fortune-teller. Let me remind you again, I was the most astute of nomadic knowledge-seekers in all the air temples, and the abilities I gained later as a spirit put me in a unique position to be the most reliable of narrators," Gan assured him with stern conviction. Iroh smiled and sipped his tea before prying further. "Abilities? What abilities?" "Yes, you see, after my spirit was trapped on the mortal plane, it didn't take me long to discover them. For instance, I can pass through people and know more about them than they know themselves. Their thoughts, emotions, memories, I absorb them all in a second. So when I tell you what someone is thinking, it's quite more than an educated guess. It's the real deal," Gan explained. Iroh took another sip of tea before speaking in a calm voice. "Not to doubt you, but we both have lived as man and spirit," he chuckled while going on. "Yet I can't pass through people like you can. Well, you can't leave the spirit world like I can either, and I imagine the circumstances of our arrivals were quite different. Why don't you start by telling me how your spirit became tethered to the mortal plane?" Iroh asked in a polite tone. "Yes, all in good time, but I would much prefer to save that tale for last. You see, that story is forever etched in my translucent mind. The others, however, I would like to tell while they are still fresh," Gan replied while going back to his tea before adding, "Besides, the tale of my death during the comet before it was named Sozin makes for a better full-circle moment." Iroh acquiesced with a low belly laugh. All right, start where you would like. I'm all ears." Without needing to do so, Gan squirmed on his rocky seat before beginning. "Very well, as I told you when last we talked, I feel compelled to tell you about what I've learned while traveling the four nations in this unique form. But first, I must know that you truly believe me. You see, I don't exaggerate when I say that I know more about people than they know about themselves. But I must admit one person that I watched for a long time from the ethereal bushes managed to do something that I didn't expect. It was your nephew, in fact." Iroh put down his tea and looked toward Gan with a little suspicion as the latter went on. "Iroh, do you remember the last time you talked to your nephew? It was here in the spirit world, wasn't it?" Keeping a suspicious gaze on Gan, Iroh replied, "You were there, watching us?" Gan quickly answered, "No, quite impossible. That was before Korra created the new spirit portal in Republic City and inadvertently granted me access to this world. You see, for the first century and a half of my travels, I was confined to the mortal plane. It wasn't until I passed through Kuvira, as she and Korra were pulled into the new portal, that I was able to enter and exit the spirit realm. No, I only know of his last visit with you because I passed through him. You see, that is the point of this admission. When I learned of you through Zuko, I was sure he was going to do as you suggested to him and leave his mortal body behind and join you in the spirit realm." Iroh looked down a bit glumly before finishing Gan's point. But he didn't. No, he didn't, and that was the only time I absorbed someone's thoughts and memories, yet failed to accurately predict their future actions. Still looking down, Iroh declared solemnly, "My nephew is full of surprises." Gan stirred again as if uncomfortable. "I'm sorry if I just opened a wound, but it was necessary to alleviate your doubts of the authenticity of my insights." Iroh took a small sip of tea before replying, "I believe you. You were going to tell me about the 4 nations." Some of the nearby spirits began to take notice of the duo. A few sat down as if to listen. Gan grew excited again. "Yes, indeed. Now, as I stated earlier, I will tell my story as an air nomad last. So for the sake of harmony with the Avatar cycle and good storytelling, let's start with what I observed while watching the absolutely resilient people of the Water Nation."